All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this class. Something about this title resonated with so many people. I've had more requests for the recording or more people coming tonight than I usually do, because this must be the topic that everybody needs some help on. So today we're going to talk about hormones, skin, and mood and their connection to our gut and how when we improve our digestive health, so many other things tend to improve as well. So, if we have not met yet, my name is Christy Seibel. I'm the owner of Seibel Wellness in Bloomer, Wisconsin. My journey to this world of being a practitioner was 100% through digestive health. And so this is one of my favorite topics to talk about because before I was a nutritional therapy practitioner, a nutrition response practitioner, all these like fancy words, before I was any of that, I was just a mom who had a really sick kid. So when my daughter was 5 years old, she was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which is a autoimmune condition similar to Crohn's. And so we had a very sick little girl with a lot of digestive symptoms going on. And so, of course, we did everything the doctors told us to do, but also everything the doctors told us to do wasn't, didn't feel like it was the whole story. So we were hearing things like, oh, we'll put her on this medication and she can be on this medication for a few years, but then we actually have to switch her to something like harsher, something stronger. And every few years we'll just rotate her medications and then we'll, typically have her colon out by the time she's 12. And then no one could give us information about long-term diagnosis of a 5-year-old on these medications or anything else. They told us that what she eats didn't matter. Um, Literally at the hospital with one of the best GI specialists, pediatric GI specialists at Children's Hospital, told us after her colonoscopy, endoscopy, major procedure to just take her to McDonald's and get her a Happy Meal on the way home. And so we were really in this position of yes, she absolutely needs support, and we used the medication she needed to have at that time, but also what else can we do? And that took us outside of the world of traditional medicine. And so we really figured out how to meld the two things together. So my husband grew up in an organic farm, and so he still farms to this day. And so we already had this world of like sort of we knew that food mattered and what our how our food was produced mattered. And so we just took it to a whole nother level. We started researching, we started working with new practitioners. And over the course of the next 3 years, we were able to completely wean her off all of her medications. She's been medication free since she was 8, um, along with no symptoms. So we have not, she's still on no she still has no symptoms, um, digestive wise. And so doctors would say she's in remission from her autoimmune condition, which was never in the prognosis at the beginning. They told us that was not a thing, it was not possible, that she would need all of these supports forever. And so my like learner brain at the time, I was a high school science teacher. And so I love to learn, I love to teach, and I really just went all in on learning what other things we could do to support her. And so we, throughout those 3 years when we were sort of weaning her off medications, we started working with a nutritionist actually out of California, of a friend of a friend of a friend. We did some really radical things with her diet. We started working with a nutrition response testing practitioner, actually out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and got her on the right supplements, started working on the root cause of what could be causing these symptoms to go on. We started working with using our essential oils even more. We already had them in our home. This just took it to a whole new level. And so when I left teaching in 2019, I did that to do my doTERRA essential oil business full time. But alongside that, ended up going back to school over the next few years to pick up every single certification that we had used to help her along the way. And so now I kind of get to be a one-stop shop for all of these things. And while yes, her symptoms were digestive, and that's a little bit of what we're talking about today is digestion. The idea is that when we support our digestive system, everything else feels better. So as we were going through her challenges, um, I would have said at that time that I didn't have digestive issues, but I had a whole lot of hormone issues, I had a whole lot of skin issues, and I had a whole lot of mood issues. Um, and in the process of helping her, of course, you're not going to put a 5-year-old on a really restrictive diet without the whole family kind of being on board. And so as I changed my diet and I started to learn more about supplements and I started to incorporate these things into my life, all of a sudden symptoms that I didn't even know I had started to go away. It was like, oh, this is what my digestive system is supposed to feel like. All those things I had before, I just thought they were normal. Like I thought that was how I was supposed to feel. And so, yeah, my digestion improved, my skin improved. Um, Again, we're not here to talk about me, but just to give you a little context, I had eczema on my hands to the point that I literally lost fingernails. Like I could not at that time, there's probably some stress involved in that season. I could not wear short sleeves because I was broken out in a rash all the way up my arms. My hands were just raw. Um, and so as that has improved completely. I have no signs of eczema or anything skin related left on my hands or my arms. And so we've seen this connection of when we support our gut, all of the other things that can get improved along the way. And so the bottom line is, I believe you can feel better. We are not destined to these symptoms. We are not destined to a life of like, oh, just take this medication forever. And that being said, sometimes there are medications we need, right? They have a time and a place, but knowing what is a need and what is acting as a band-aid and what we actually have some control over. And so this is what I get to do every day is help people get to the root cause of their health issues, improve their diet, their nutrition, their lifestyle to really implement new habits that can help you feel better. And so today, yes, I only have about 30 minutes. I literally could talk about this topic for weeks. I actually do offer a program a few times a year where we dive into digestion and nutrition for about 5 weeks. So keep watching for that. No idea when the next date for that will be, but I do a bigger program around this, but I'm gonna do as much as I can in the next 30 minutes. So you maybe want a notebook, you maybe want a place to take notes. I'm going to give you lots of tips that you can incorporate right now that don't take any sort of external resources. I'm also going to give you some ideas of my very favorite doTERRA supplements and essential oils that you can start to incorporate. Now, you can probably see the wall behind me. I carry lots of supplements in my office. I carry about 10 different supplement companies. The reason I'm going to talk to you about doTERRA today is because number one, you don't need to be working with a practitioner to get them. Any of my other supplements, you have to have a practitioner in order to get these supplements. So you don't have to be working with me one-on-one to get doTERRA supplements. Number two is they are as good, if not better, as all of these other supplements. Now, the catalog's a little smaller. It doesn't quite have as much variety, which is why I use other supplements as well. But this is a company that you're going to be able to get a wide variety of supplements and really high quality, practitioner quality products without having to be working with a practitioner. If there's something else you're like, yeah, but I wish I could get, let's talk. Yeah, send me a message later. I do have other options. This is where we're going to start today. Okay, so let's start with talking about maybe why you're here. One of these words probably made you raise your hand to be like, yes, I will take an hour out of my day to come learn, whether it's the hormones, the mood, the skin, maybe it's all three of them, or maybe it's just the digestion piece that you're like, yeah, I don't want to feel like that anymore. So before we dive into digestion itself, let's talk a little bit about why these things are so connected to our digestion. So let's start with mood. You maybe don't know this. Um, when I have this conversation with clients, a lot of times people are really amazed, really shocked to know that we're going to talk about serotonin. So serotonin is your like feel good, happy neurotransmitter. It's what makes us feel happy. 90% of your serotonin is made in your colon. It's not made in your brain. Serotonin, that feel good, happy chemical, is not a brain hormone, it is a gut hormone. 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut. So, it I have not had it happen to me yet where a client comes to me and says like, "Oh, I have all of these digestive symptoms." And then I say, "Okay, but do you have anxiety?" Yes. They go together. Like, and anxiety is just one example. So the gut and the brain are so intricately connected. It's actually called the gut-brain connection, where the gut is often called our second brain. There are actually more neurotransmitters in our gut than there are in our brain. So if our gut is not happy, we are not happy. And it can be a very vicious circle where we need a healthy gut to have a healthy mood, have a happy mood. But also, we know, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, that if we are stressed, if we're dealing with anxiety, that has a direct impact on our digestion as well. And so it can be very hard to break that cycle of, am I anxious because my stomach has issues, or does my stomach have issues because I'm anxious? And so I'm going to give you some tools that you can use to break that cycle and pull yourself out of, like, before we worry about fixing our brain, let's fix our gut first. Okay. The second thing we're going to talk about is skin. So when our digestive system is out of balance, that can cause inflammation. And inflammation can show up on our skin as acne, rashes, eczema. Anytime we have something showing up outside on our skin, the real problem is inside. It's not a skin problem. Okay, acne, not a skin problem. Eczema, not a skin problem. Those are all digestive or detoxification problems. Something is off on the inside, and your body is waving all of its red flags, saying, like, hey, help me. You're not paying attention to all these other symptoms. Let me give you another one that you can see. Here's something on your skin to let you know that something is going on. Um, our skin also can become part of our detoxification system. So if our body's drainage systems, our colon, our liver, and we're going to get into all those organs in a little bit. You didn't know you were coming to an anatomy class, but here we go. Um, if your detoxification system is not eliminating well, then your skin becomes the next like backup organ. And so if those toxins can't be eliminated through normal channels, liver, colon, kidneys, your skin will push those toxins out through your skin. And so skin can be a sign that there's something off with our detoxification or our digestion. And then also we're going to talk a little bit about our microbiome, the health of our bacteria in our digestive tract. Not only do we want bacteria, we want a lot of it. We want good bacteria in our digestion, in our digestive tract. That's what makes our body work well. And when that is out of balance, that is what protects our skin barrier. That's what reduces issues like dryness, rosacea, premature aging. And so when we support our microbiome, we support our skin as well. And then the last thing is hormones. And again, each one of these could be their own topic. Actually, each one of these is their own topic, and I'll share with you some classes I have coming up in a little bit. But let's just talk for a second about hormones. Again, I could talk for hours. When we talk about hormones, we typically think about, especially here as women, estrogen, progesterone are our two big hormones. And we know that as women, we need those two hormones to be in balance. Typically, about 99% of women are estrogen dominant. We have way too much estrogen, not enough progesterone. And digestion is part of the reason why. Because when your gut and your liver aren't working together well, one of your liver's jobs is actually to like process, to like deactivate used up estrogen. Your liver has about 500 jobs. One of them is to break down used up hormones, and then it passes them on to the rest of the digestive tract to get them out of your system. So if your gut is sluggish, that estrogen can recirculate, which then causes more estrogen dominance, which can lead to all sorts of hormonal symptoms. PMS, heavy cycles, hot flashes. And so I do have a class all about hormones. If you want to really dive deeper into this topic coming up in a few weeks, I'll share that with you. But there's such a connection. And actually, there's a connection with skin as well. Because if our liver is congested trying to do its hormone job, it makes it harder to do our skin job. All of these pieces work together. And so we'll keep coming back to these, but I want to dive really deep into how digestion is supposed to work and why it's not working the way we want it to and how we can fix it. But know that when we fix our digestive system, all of these things can potentially improve as well. All right. So we're going to talk about the basics of digestion and we are going to have a quick little anatomy class. Again, I'm going to be really conscious of the time here, but I got a lot of things to say. So, the way digestion is supposed to work. Digestion is, and you'll hear me say this a lot, digestion is a north to south process. But digestion doesn't start in our mouth, it actually starts in our brain. So the first thing that happens is your brain tells your mouth that food is coming. And then food passes through your mouth. Um, And the reason that I can give you an example to prove to you that your brain is the first step of digestion. I wish I had one here. So I want you to just like picture a like ripe, juicy lemon. Like smell the lemon, right? That like nice aroma. Maybe you've got some like lemon essential oil handy. You can be like, okay, I'm gonna like smell that lemon. You can picture like cutting into that lemon. And then picture in your mind, like either squeezing that lemon or like literally licking that lemon. What's happening in your mouth right now? My mouth is literally like there's saliva. I feel like I have to like swallow a little extra. Um, because your brain is telling your mouth to get ready because there's something sour coming, there's some food coming. And so our mouth starts to respond immediately by producing excess saliva, produces extra saliva to get ready for that food. And so our brain has to be involved in the process of eating. We're going to come back to that idea in a little bit. So our brain tells our mouth that food is coming. Our mouth is our first step. So our mouth is going to chew that food up, swallow it. It's going to go down our esophagus, and its first stop is the stomach. Okay, in the stomach, that food is bathed in a blend of really, really intense stomach acid. So your stomach acid is extremely acidic, like probably about 10 to 100 times less acidic than battery acid, but way more acidic than like something more neutral, even lemon juice, way more acidic than lemon juice. And so that stomach is able to start to break down that food that you ate into smaller and smaller particles using the acid that's in your stomach. So the whole point of digestion is to take this food and break it down into particles that are small enough so that it can absorb through the lining of your intestines and go into your bloodstream so that your body can use those nutrients to fuel your cells, to build healthy muscle, to all of the things your body needs. All those nutrients have to get out of your food and into your bloodstream. So your stomach is the first stop where it starts to break those down into smaller and smaller particles using stomach acid. After that food leaves your stomach, it goes into your small intestine. And in your stomach, in your small intestine, it's going to be bathed with digestive enzymes. And those digestive enzymes are further going to break that food down into smaller and smaller particles. And then the nutrients are going to start to absorb through the walls of your intestines into your bloodstream. Now, we've kind of got like a side path going on the side. So food's going from your stomach into your small intestine. But at the same side, we have kind of like a side organ over here, and that's your liver. And as long as we're only talking about digestion here, I want to talk about bile. So we said your liver has about 500 different jobs. One of its jobs is to produce bile. And so bile is what your body uses to break down fats. And so your liver is going to make bile all day long, and it's going to drip it into your gallbladder. Your gallbladder is like a little basket that sits underneath your liver and collects that bile all day long that your liver is producing. So now, when my brain tells my mouth and my mouth tells my digestive system that I'm eating fats, your gallbladder is going to take that little cup of bile and dump it into your small intestine to help break down any fats that you ate. We need bile to break down fats. After that food leaves your small intestine, it's going to go into the large intestine. Your large intestine actually is extremely long, wraps all the way kind of up and around your abdomen, lower abdomen. And that's where we're going to see a lot of water being absorbed out of that food, so that when that food passes all the way through and goes into your colon, it can be excreted as stool. Okay. You didn't know we were going to talk about poop today either. We talk about poop every day in my office. Kids love it. Actually, they get a little weirded out when I'm like, okay, what does your poop look like? But it really matters because it tells us what's going on with our digestion. Okay, so that was the overly simplified version of what's happening with our digestion. And the reason I wanted to go through all of those pieces is because we have to look at, maybe you're here because you're like, I have gut issues. I can raise my hand and say, I have constipation or diarrhea or bloating or gas or heartburn or indigestion or whatever it is. If you have a digestive issue, this idea, this picture of what's happening in our digestion is going to give us some clues as to how to improve it. Because digestion is a north to south process. So if we can pinpoint where the problem is, like let's say you have heartburn. So you've got sort of like an upper esophagus problem. The problem isn't your esophagus. The problem is north. The problem is always north of where you have the problem, where you feel the symptom. If you have a lot of bloating, like lower intestinal, okay, we have to look up what's north of that. And when we think about what's north, the most northerly place in our brain is in our body is our brain. And so we need to start with our brain. If you have digestive symptoms, and those digestive symptoms may be showing up as imbalanced hormones, mood, or skin issues, we have to start with our brain. So, the first thing I'm going to recommend is that you get your brain involved in the process of digestion, which maybe sounds a little off the wall. It's maybe something nobody's ever told you before, but we need your brain involved. And this is the number one thing that people get wrong about digestion. I told you if you like looked at our little Facebook event, this is one of the things I said I was going to tell you. The number one thing people get wrong with digestion is that digestion is not a gut issue. Digestion starts in the brain. And so this is where we start. You have heartburn, go north, brain. You have gas, go north, brain. And the great thing is it's free. Everybody can do this. It's simple, maybe not easy, but it's simple. Everyone can do this. So the number one thing I'm going to tell you to do is eat mindfully. So we want to be eating when we are in a calm, relaxed state. If you are eating while you're stressed, if you are eating while standing up at the kitchen counter, if you're eating while working, if you're eating while driving your kids to school in the car, if your brain is everywhere else except on the food, then your digestive system is not getting the right signals to say like, oh, we've got some fat coming, let's release some bile. Or we've got some carbohydrates coming, let's release extra saliva to help break those down. Your brain isn't telling everyone else what to do because your brain isn't involved. I've seen this work over and over and over again where people with digestive symptoms, we start to work on how we're eating, not necessarily what we're eating, but how we're eating. And it makes a huge difference. So Put yourself in a calm, relaxed state. Does it mean we have to remove all stress before we eat? No, that's not realistic. But it does mean that we need to like focus on food when we're eating. So, like, take 30 seconds and say a little prayer before you eat. Take 10 deep breaths before you eat. Sit down when you eat. Remove distractions. Get rid of the phones, get rid of the screens. Like, when we eat, we should be eating. You don't have to get rid of your family, keep them. But like remove as many distractions as you can so that your brain and your body can just focus on the food. The second piece, so if digestion starts in our brain, the next place it goes is our mouth. And so this is the second big thing is to chew your food thoroughly. And you can't do this if you're stressed and you can't do this if you're distracted. We should be chewing every single bite of food to the consistency of like applesauce or a smoothie before we swallow it. Because if the whole point of digestion is to make our food into small enough particles that your digestive system, your digestive tract can absorb those nutrients, they have to be super, super tiny. And if we can do most of the work in our mouth, it takes so much of the pressure off of our stomach. We see heartburn start to improve or acid reflux start to improve. We see gas start to improve and bloating start to improve because now your stomach and your intestinal tract doesn't have to do as much work because your mouth did more of it. Now, let me tell you, I tell you all of these things because they work, not because I'm good at them. Chewing your food thoroughly is the hardest thing for me. It is so hard. I was a teacher for 12 years. I can eat my lunch in 5 minutes while carrying on five conversations. Like, that's just the way we had to do things. So I have to like consciously like take a bite and then put my fork down and chew my food. Um, when I'm out to eat with like my nutritionist friends, that sounds really dorky. Everybody's like shoveling in food. Somebody will be like, okay, wait, everybody put your forks down. So I tell you this not because I'm good at it, because I know it works. But north to south, get your brain involved, eat mindfully, chew your food. Couple other things you can do that don't require anything is move your body. So movement supports your digestion by stimulating motility. So if you struggle with constipation, by the way, constipation is defined as, in my world, not having a bowel movement every single day. We want to be having 1 to 3 bowel movements a day. You should be going every single day. Every other day doesn't count. That's constipated. Um, if your bowel movements are like pebbly, that's constipated. If your bowel movements are really hard to pass, like you really need to have effort to go, that's constipated. So, moving your body is one of the best ways to support that. So, movement, walking after meals is going to help reduce bloating. It's going to help reduce constipation just by a simple walk. So, if I could like prescribe one thing for you, I'm not a doctor, I shouldn't use that word. Um, it would be after every meal, take a 10-minute walk. There's a lot of research now showing this is actually even more effective than taking a 30 to 60-minute walk all on its own. It's calling like a walking snack. Like, don't have one big meal of walking. Break it up into little snacks throughout the day. So after you eat, take a 10-minute walk. And if you're like, I can't do 3 10-minute walks, first thing would be, okay, pick once a day. After one walk, or after one meal, can you take a 10-minute walk? The second question I always ask my clients is show me your screen time on your phone, and now tell me you can't take 10 minutes to go for a walk. I'm looking at myself here too. So move your body every day. Walking alone can be really helpful. The next one is to prioritize restful sleep. This could be a class all on its own. Actually, it is. I should probably teach it again. I'll just say I'm going to pencil this in for like later this fall. I'm going to do a class again on sleep and stress because this is its own thing on its own. Um, but our body heals while you're sleeping. It's when detoxification takes place. It's when all of your like gut lining repairs. And so getting good sleep is so helpful. So, some quick tips if sleep is a struggle for you. Your room should be dark and cold. So turn down your thermostat, get blackout curtains, no screens. Limit your screen time as it gets closer to bedtime. We shouldn't be on screens within an hour or so of going to bed. When you look at a screen, your brain thinks you're looking at the sun. And so as you're like scrolling your phone, your body is just saying like, oh, it's noon, it's noon, it's noon. And then you put your phone down and try to go to sleep, and your body's like, I don't want to go to sleep. It's noon. So no screen time, close to bedtime. Um, Watch your caffeine consumption. I usually have people quit drinking caffeine after noon. Some people can get away with like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I usually say after 12 would be a good time. No caffeine after that. And I know somebody's going to say, no, I can fall asleep. I can drink coffee right up until bedtime and I fall asleep just fine. Maybe you are falling asleep and maybe you're even staying asleep, but you're probably not getting the good restful levels, those deep REM levels of sleep. And that's when your body does its healing. So everything is connected. We want good sleep to have a healthy gut. And then the last one is to manage our stress. And again, this does not mean we eliminate stress. We live in a stressful world. It's finding ways that you can pull your body out of that highly stressed state so that your body can focus on digestion, because you can't be in fight or flight mode and digest your food well at the same time. It's one or the other. You're either in your rest and digest state or you're in your fight or flight mode. You can't be in both at the same time. So find some things that you can do to pull your body out of a stress state. One of my favorite things to do is breath work. Maybe that sounds kind of woo-woo. I don't know where this is something you've practiced before, but your body cannot be in a physically stressed state if you slow down your breath. So slow down your breathing. The tool I really like to use because it's easy for me to remember and easy for me to implement is called box breathing. So box breathing is this idea of taking a nice deep breath, breathing in for a count of four, and then we hold it for a count of four, breathing out for a count of four, and then holding it for four. So I can like visualize that box. In, hold, out, hold. I'm going to do that just really slow, maybe 3, 4 times, just enough to tell my brain to chill out, calm down. Even better if you can incorporate an essential oil with it. So essential oils are able to work through our limbic system of our brain. It's a direct connection to our brain. Our olfactory system, our sense of smell, has a direct connection to our brain. And so when I'm grabbing an oil like on the screen here is Serenity. It's known as the restful blend. It used to be called the calming blend. I'll take a drop of that in my hands and then I'll do my box breathing. I'll breathe in for a count of four, I'll hold it, and I'm just bringing in that oil. It's just another tool to pull our body out of fight or flight mode so that we can focus on digestion. On the screen here is doTERRA's Serenity system, which is a great tool for sleep. If you struggle with sleep, again, there's so many things you can do, the cool room, the dark room, the caffeine, the screens, all of that. But also there's some tools we can use that can help improve our sleep while we're implementing those changes. And so this is one of my favorites. If sleep is something that you're like, oh my gosh, I just need some sleep, this is a great place to start because these pieces are going to help implement more restful sleep. They're going to help you fall asleep, stay asleep in an all natural way. Okay, so we've got a few lifestyle tools that we can use, don't cost any money, that we can use to really start to prioritize our gut health. The next thing we're going to talk about is food, because what we eat does matter, despite what my daughter's doctor told us. You're never going to convince me that what we eat doesn't have an impact on how our digestive system works. And so I'm going to give you a few tools, a few ideas that you can use to start to think about how what you're eating is impacting your nutrition or your digestive system. So, your gut thrives on four things. Number one is water. Okay, I gotta grab my notes here because if I don't have notes, then I get off topic and then I talk forever. So hydration, this is number one thing, going back to that idea of being constipated, and we said movement can help so much. The other thing that can help so much is water. Constipation is number one indicator that there's some dehydration going on. So we need to drink more water. The basic goal, kind of generic goal, is that we should be drinking half of our body weight in ounces of water every day. So, for example, if you weigh 200 pounds, your goal is to drink 100 ounces of water every day. Do the calculation. What do you weigh? Divided by two, that's how many ounces of water you need to be drinking on a daily basis. Now, there's some variation depending on age and your job and where you live. There's some variability, but it's a good generic idea. The second thing when we talk about water is not only do we need to be drinking the water, but our body also has to be able to absorb the water. I've had more than one client come to see me with some major constipation, which their doctors told them it was normal because they just had a curvy colon. So apparently the doctor said it's totally normal that you are constipated. That's just the way it's going to be. We started to incorporate electrolytes. So electrolytes are a little bit trendy right now, but for good reason. Electrolytes are minerals that your body uses to be able to take the water that you're drinking and move it inside your cells. It's like we didn't really have this summer, but you know when it gets like really dry out and the ground is just dry, your garden, your lawn, everything's just dry, and then we get a really good rain and all the water just like runs right off into the ditches because everything's so dry it can't even absorb the water. That's basically what's happening to our cells. If your cells are dehydrated, they're just so dry, they're like flattened up little discs. You can drink all the water you want, it's just going to run right off of them. You feel like you're peeing all day long, like drink water, go to the bathroom, drink water, go to the bathroom. Your water isn't moving into your cells like we want it to be. And that's what electrolytes do. So, best examples of electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. I think I said sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. Those four minerals are the big ones when it comes to electrolytes. And so there's all natural ways that you can do this. You can incorporate coconut water. Coconut water is a great source of potassium. Sea salt is a great source of sodium. There's ways that you can incorporate this. Right now, there's a lot of different electrolytes on the market. And so we use in our house, we use doTERRA's Recharge. I don't want to spend a ton of time on water, but this is the number one thing I do with probably 95% of my clients. The first thing we do is start electrolytes because they're dehydrated. They're showing the symptoms, they just don't know it. And that person who came to me and her doctor said, it's fine that you're constipated, your colon's just curvy. Within 2 weeks, she was having daily bowel movements. And all we did was add in electrolytes. She was just dehydrated, and her stools couldn't move because she was dehydrated. So, I love doTERRA's for lots of reasons. Number one is it has way more potassium than sodium. In our standard American diet, we eat a lot of sodium. Most of us are not sodium deficient. So this has a little bit of sodium. It has a lot of potassium. A lot of electrolytes on the market will have that flipped. They'll have a lot of sodium with just a little bit of potassium. It also tastes like you're not drinking salt because it doesn't have as much sodium. The other thing I really like about this electrolyte specifically is it has 4 different types of magnesium in it. A lot of them will only include one, and they'll just include the cheap one. doTERRA's included 4 different types of magnesium, including magnesium L-threonate, which is a really powerful magnesium. It can actually cross the blood-brain barrier. So now we get some stress support. We get all of these other things along with our electrolytes. So this is a favorite for us, but drink more water, use electrolytes. Okay. The next thing your gut thrives on is protein. Protein is what your body uses to make digestive enzymes. And digestive enzymes are what live in your small intestine to help break your food down into smaller particles. Protein also gives your body amino acids that can help repair your gut. Also super important for hormones. So without enough protein, our digestion can just get sluggish. Tissues can't repair, everything slows down. So eat more protein. You should have a good portion of protein on your meal, on your plate at every meal, including breakfast. Best sources of protein, I may be a little bit biased here, but meat. Meat is the most complete protein. It's really hard to get enough protein and keep your blood sugar balanced, which is a whole nother topic, without having some meat in your diet. So, is there meat on your plate for every meal? The next thing your gut thrives on is fat. So, fats are amazing for calming inflammation. I've used the word inflammation a few times here. More information on that. Actually, I have a class coming up all about that topic. But healthy fats are what calm inflammation in your body. Fats are also required for your bile to move. So if you're not eating enough fats, your bile can get sticky. Remember, your liver produces it and it drips into your gallbladder, and then we need that gallbladder to be able to like dump. And if your bile is sticky and we go to dump the bile, nothing comes out. So healthy fats make that bile flow work. Fats also help keep things moving, right? They keep things lubricated. And so if you struggle with constipation, it may be a lack of healthy fats. So, best sources of healthy fats are going to be things like coconut oil, avocados or avocado oil or olives, nuts and seeds to some extent, butter, personal favorite. So get more healthy fats. One of This is a place where I really like supplementation of fats, not to replace, you still have to eat them, but also, especially here in Wisconsin, I think everybody's somewhat local to this area. If not, good for you if you get a lot of like fresh fish. We do not here in like the middle of Wisconsin. We don't eat enough healthy like fresh fish. Salmon, things like that are so helpful, good sources of healthy fats. And so I really love using a fish oil supplement. Need to be really careful when it comes to fish oil because fish oil, a lot of them are actually rancid. Fish oil goes bad very quickly. And so if you ever have taken a fish oil and then like burped up fish oil all day, chances are the fish oil you took was actually bad. Like it had already gone rancid. And that's what was causing you to burp it up all day and taste it all day. Hands down, with all my supplements, my favorite omega healthy fat supplement is doTERRA's E Omega Plus. The reason I love it, number one is it has really good numbers of EPA, DHA. Number two is you're not going to burp up fish oil all day because it doesn't taste like fish. So here's my little capsule. You can see it. I mean, it's not the biggest fish oil I've ever seen, but I don't swallow these, I chew them. So see, I just popped it. I sucked all the like fish oil out of it. It doesn't taste like fish, it tastes like orange. Because doTERRA's figured out if they add wild orange essential oil to their fish oil, it actually preserves the fish oil so it doesn't get rancid. So I love using a supplement to help with those healthy fats because as much as I eat butter and olive oil and coconut oil, I just don't get enough fish. And so I like supplementing with a fish oil. Okay, eat more veggies and fiber. Fiber is what feeds your microbiome. Remember those like, so your microbiome is the gut, is the bacteria in your gut. And that bacteria lives and needs food to live. Bacteria is a living thing. It needs food to live, and that food is fiber. So good bacteria thrive on plant fibers and resistant starches. So this is crucial for constipation, regular elimination. And so making sure that you're getting veggies in your diet. Now, if you struggle with gut issues, you're like, yeah, but I can't eat a salad. I feel awful if I eat a salad. Correct. I give you all permission to never eat another salad again. If you love salads, cool, eat them. If they make you feel horrible, don't eat salads. Especially if you have gut issues, cooked vegetables are going to be so much easier on your system than raw vegetables. So salads are actually pretty tough to digest. There's a lot of stuff in there. So cooked vegetables. You can also get fiber from things like raspberries, hemp seeds, chia seeds, lots of ways that you can get fiber, not from vegetables as well. Um, all right. Oh, I knew I was going to be short on time here. Hold up. We got to go fast. Um, so reduce sugar and processed foods. This is the thing nobody wants to hear, but sugar causes inflammation. Inflammation impacts your digestion. So as much as we can, reducing sugar. And then the closer your food is to the way it exists in nature, the easier it is for your gut to recognize it as food and break it down. A lot of the food that we can now buy in the grocery store, your body doesn't even know that's food. It thinks it's a toxin. So full of ingredients that your body has no idea what they are. It's not even food anymore. So if we want better digestion, we need better food. So eat food that your body actually knows is food. The closer it can be to nature. Read an ingredient list. Is it made up of things that are actually food, or is it made up of things that were made in a lab? Your body knows the difference. I'm not saying you never get to eat any of that ever again, but make choices when you can and see how your digestion feels when you do. And then the last thing is to supplement to fill in the gap. So I already mentioned taking a fish oil to fill in the gaps of my fat intake is something that I do on a daily basis. I don't even have it in here. doTERRA has a fiber supplement. Those people who come in person to the class tonight, we're actually going to sample this together. Hands down, my favorite. Not because I feel like I need to supplement with fiber, but because I actually just like the taste. So in the afternoon, if I like feel like I'm just needing a little sweet something, I will make myself up a glass of fiber and drink that. Nobody's ever said that about Metamucil. Nobody's ever excited to like drink their fiber supplement. This is like an apple lemon flavor. It's so good. So doTERRA does make a fiber supplement if you feel like you need extra support. Now, again, this contains about 6 grams of fiber. Your daily intake should be like 25. So this doesn't mean you don't have to eat fiber. It's to help fill in the gaps where your diet isn't there. The last thing that can really help fill in some gaps is taking a multivitamin. And again, just like food, that multivitamin needs to be made of actual food and not things that were made in a lab because your body knows the difference. And so I love doTERRA's VMG. It is a multivitamin and it's made of food. It's actually a drink mix, so it also contains some greens and it contains all your vitamins and minerals. And if you look at the ingredient list, it's things like Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprout powder and celery powder, and it's made of actual food, so your body knows what to do with it. So you're getting your vitamins and minerals, filling in the gaps, what might be lacking in our diet, taking in a daily supplement. So this is just a simple drink mix. Mix this with water, drink it down. Yes, it's green, but it tastes like pineapple, pineapple mango-y kind of. So super yummy. Okay, I still got slides to go. Really quickly, there are supplements that you can use to support digestion. Um, Now, before you go to supplements, I did this last for a reason. We start here. You start with your brain, you start with your sleep, you start with how you're eating. So we look at how we're eating, then we look at what we're eating, and then we can go to a supplement to be like, man, something's still off. Supplements sometimes are that missing piece. No supplement should ever be a like, hey, I'm just going to take this forever. We're going to take it for a little bit of time. It can be 6 months to a year, but not, this shouldn't be like, hey, take this forever. Should be like, use this to kind of repopulate what was missing in your body. So if you remember how we said the stomach's job is to take the food and break it down into smaller particles using stomach acid? Sometimes we don't have enough stomach acid. How do we fix it? We eat without distractions. We chew our food really good. We make sure we're not stressed when we're eating. But if you need a little support while you're working those things into your routine, apple cider vinegar can be a really good support. You do about a, I do about a teaspoon of this in a little bit of water and drink it before meals. It's going to put some extra acid into your stomach to help your body break down the foods that you're eating. Quick side note that I don't even have time for, but I'm going to tell you anyway. If you deal with heartburn, the Tums commercials all have it wrong. The Tums commercials are telling you that you have heartburn because you have too much acid in your stomach, and so you need to neutralize it. And that's what Tums does. It goes in and neutralizes the stomach acid. Not the problem. For most people, the reason you have heartburn is because you don't have enough acid in your stomach. And now your body is struggling to digest the food that's in there. And so what does it do? That food, it's going to sit in your stomach longer than we want it to. And so that food starts to ferment. Sounds gross. It is. So there's literally fermenting food in your stomach. And when it ferments, it starts to bubble up, right? That's what fermentation does. And so that stomach acid starts to bubble up into your esophagus. And so even though that stomach acid isn't as acidic as it should be, it's still more acidic than your esophagus is made to handle. Your stomach is made to be acidic, your esophagus isn't. And so that bubbling up of acid is what's burning. And so how do we get that to calm down? We remove distractions and eat in a non-stress state. We chew our food really, really good to make it easier on our stomach to digest our food so that the food can get like move through quicker. But again, taking some apple cider vinegar and getting some extra acid into your stomach can help as well. Next is it may be helpful to implement some digestive enzymes. So again, this is like small intestine. Your body should be able to create digestive enzymes all on its own. For whatever reason, you've been overly stressed, you've eaten an overly processed diet, you've taken antibiotics or certain like other medications can affect this balance. Digestive enzymes can help support like reestablishing those enzyme levels. Okay, so this can be really helpful if you deal with bloating, gas, just lower intestinal sort of problems. Sometimes it's helpful to take a probiotic. Oh, I should say doTERRA's digestive enzyme is called Terrazyme. doTERRA has a probiotic called PB Restore. Again, hands down, despite all of these supplements, this is my favorite probiotic out of all of them. Um, it is for a few reasons. Maybe you can tell in the picture, in the video, it's actually a capsule inside of a capsule. So it's double encapsulated to make sure that those probiotics can actually get into your gut where they're needed and they don't get eaten up by your stomach acid. Um, Probiotics live in our large intestine, and so we got to get them all the way through your digestive tract. Small intestine too, but in our intestines. Um, and so this is going to make sure. This is so good for your skin, so good for your mood, so good for your brain because it's going to support your probiotics of the whole system. Collagen is something that can be really helpful. My personal favorite brand is called Great Lakes. Collagen can help repair your gut lining. So if you've got damage to your digestive tract, collagen can help with that. Magnesium is a supplement that I use on a pretty regular basis. Um, I was going to show you. You can get this right on Amazon. This is the one I typically use with clients. It's called Pure Encapsulations Magnesium Glycinate. Really great for stress and sleep. And when we sleep better, when we stress better, digestion is better. Magnesium can also help with bowel movements, but usually not glycinate. Magnesium citrate is usually the magnesium that helps you poop better. And then doTERRA has a essential oil called Digest Zen that is good for all things digestion. Um, it basically is like going through your spice cabinet. It has anise, peppermint, ginger, caraway, coriander, tarragon, and fennel in it. And if you have digestive issues, I would make this a part of your regular routine. If you don't have digestive issues, I would make this part of your like purse, first aid kit, travel kit, so that when digestive issues do pop up, this is my go-to to help with symptoms. I'll either put a drop right under my tongue, or I'll put a few drops on my hand and rub them into my belly or wherever I'm just experiencing symptoms. It works so fast. My kids' friends all know that I have this oil with me all the time. So if we're like on a field trip or something, they'll be like, my tummy hurts. Everybody knows I have the oils to rub on your belly to make your belly feel better. And it works so quickly. So add digestion to your daily routine if you would like some digestive support. Okay, couple things. I shared a lot of doTERRA products. If you are like, yes, I need these, if you're not already a doTERRA customer, I've actually put a link together for you that has all of the products that we've talked about all in one place. There's QR codes here. My link is on the left. Stephanie Miller, I know some of you are here because Stephanie told you to be here. Stephanie's is on the right. If you're not already a doTERRA customer, if you scan that, this cart is going to pop up. It's got all the products we already talked about. So you can just scan it. You can delete the things you don't want. You can add in things you do. It's completely customizable. And when you order through doTERRA, if you're a brand new customer, all of these things over here can come for free. So as long as your order is over 150 PV, this diffuser is going to show up in your cart. When you order the VMG and the E Omega coupled together, you're also going to receive this little shaker bottle and a bottle of peppermint, which is also amazing for um, digestive health. And then this month, if you click subscribe on at least one item and your order is over 125 PV, you're also going to get a 5 milliliter bottle of tea tree, which is one of my favorite skin supports. So good for acne. I can never find mine because it disappears to my kiddos' rooms. I got teenagers. This is what they spot treat their acne with. Works so well, works on dandruff, works on a lot of different things. So if you're watching this recording in September, it's a different free product. This month it's tea tree. So there you got those. Take a screenshot if you want to come back to that later. But if you need products, if you're already a doTERRA customer, you can just add them into your current order. There's a lot of banging going on. I don't know what's happening. If you feel like you need some support, some accountability on your diet, on what supplements work best for you, on creating new habits, you can set up a consultation to work with me. Oh, actually, that link's wrong. If you just go to cybawellness.com, there's a link that says book a free consultation. So you can go to that and let's set up a time that we can just chat one-on-one to figure out what your first steps are. Sometimes it helps to have someone walk through it with you. I do have a brand new group coaching program launching here within the next few weeks. That group coaching program is going to include a monthly Q&A. So we'll jump on a Zoom call just like this. And instead of me talking for an hour, you get to talk for an hour. You get to ask questions about anything, nutrition, habits, supplements, and I'll answer them. You're also going to get a full resource library with access to complete 4-week meal plans. Um, and then other guides like how to read a food label, how to optimize your sleep, how to choose healthy snacks. So, whole resource library. That program is coming soon. So, watch for emails and more information about that if that's something that would be helpful to you. Otherwise, here are the classes we have coming up over the next about 2 months. So, if you're ready for a stronger immune system, I didn't even mention, 70% of your immune system is housed in your digestive tract. So, guess what we're going to talk about in that class? A little bit of digestion, but we're also going to talk about just how to build a strong immune system as we head into fall. So, we have that class coming up on September 9th. We have a class all about inflammation coming up September 24th. We have a strong body, calm mind, a class with movement and stress relief, which will include a free 30-minute yoga class. That's coming up September 30th. Christy Langman Yoga out of here in Bloomer is going to be here to teach that. And then Wednesday, October 15th, we are going to do a class all about hormones. How do we bring our hormones back to balance and feel like yourself again? There's more coming after that. I just gave you the next 4. There will be potentially Zoom opportunities or recording opportunities for each of those. I don't have that information yet, but those are the classes that are coming at 6:30 here in person at Cybo Wellness. Um, Probably a recording option for most of them, and I will let you know what that looks like. So, okay. I only went over by 3 minutes. I'm going to count that a win. So thank you for being here. If there's anything I can do to support you, don't be afraid to reach out. Otherwise, I'm going to stop the recording here. Those of you who are on live, if you want to ask any questions, you are more than welcome to stay on and ask some questions. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out with me today. Okay. If anybody is on live,